Opens up about her marriage, you mean threw Todd under the bus? Boom, boom.
Coming up on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City after show.
It's actually about the real shit I've gone through with Todd and the infidelity that we have had in our situation.
It's an odd feeling to always be defending myself against these accusations that I don't love my husband, when the reality is that I love my husband so much that I deal with really difficult things.
I wake up in the middle of the night to the sounds of Meredith crying and throwing up.
Throwing up?
There is no pile of shit Britney won't put her foot in at this point.
This is something I really need to clear the air about.
You get to be the dictator and pick and choose.
I think she has qualities that would make her a dictator.
Why am I hearing rumors that you're married?
Now he's saying he don't think they're married.
The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City after show starts right now.
Bronwyn opens up about her marriage.
Opens up about her marriage, you mean threw Todd under the bus? Boom, boom.
It's actually about the real shit I've gone through with Todd. How hard it is to be a stepmom. How hard it is for me to navigate being with somebody who is older and successful, and the infidelity that we have had in our situation.
So I think a couple things were happening for me that day. I do feel very isolated. I am not getting along with really anybody. My friendship with Leisa has all but melted down.
You've called me snobby. You said I'm being ungracious.
I have not made new friendships that have compensated or made up for that. Like, I do feel very uncomfortable. And I do feel like there's a lot of negative things being said about me that are not true.
From day one, I've been called two-faced, terrifying, not a girl's girl, a trophy wife, a gold digger. This is bullshit.
It's an odd feeling to always be defending myself against these accusations that I'm a gold digger and I don't love my husband, when sometimes the reality is that I love my husband so much that I deal with really difficult things in our situation.
I mean, I did not see that coming. I did not see Bronwyn kind of betraying her marriage and betraying Todd in that way, because all I had ever seen and heard from her were, you know, she kind of perpetuates this love affair story, you know, of their marriage.
You and I both were having lunch by ourselves, and he was talking to me, and I thought he was hysterically funny.
And I also felt like I've been defending our marriage for so long that it almost comes across like I think it's perfect, and I'm very aware that it is not perfect. And I'd actually at this point prefer for negative things that are true to be said about me. So I feel like I just want to almost like shock them into realizing that they have really no idea of exactly who I am. I also think I just felt so isolated that as much as I hate it when other people do it, I like kind of emotionally vomited a little tiny bit.
I'm not always good enough at home, and then I'm not good enough with you guys. Ever.
There's like so much that I want to correct in this one moment, and I don't know how you guys received that, because I don't know if I explained all that very well.
I just thought, I'm glad I'm not married, because if my wife were on a yacht telling a bunch of friends that my daughter caught him having an affair on an iPad over his shoulder, like the whole story as it unfolded, I just kept wanting to like cover her mouth and be like, don't say this about your husband if you want to go home with him tonight.
He's gonna see that. I would have told her, no.
Yeah.
Zip it.
For me, all these thoughts were going through my head, like, this is something big. I've never heard it before.
So you knew Bronwyn, but you didn't know this before.
No, I think a part of me was also like, I wouldn't share this with a group of girls I'm getting to know because they don't know Todd.
Yeah.
And you're subjecting him to like judgment from a lot of people.
And
I
what
feel
you're
like
saying, don't say anything that you don't want to.
Don't say things you want to forget that everyone else will remember.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of the first time I really saw Bronwyn just being vulnerable and real, and she cried. And that was the first time I thought, you know what, like, this is the Bronwyn that I like, because she's not trying to act like a hard ass.
Do whatever the you want, Ange, but not with me.
She's not being crass.
My ass better ride your dick like it's my job, Leisa.
She's not jabbing people left and right.
Do you like the idea of telling us you have an announcement, or do you actually like the idea of seeing your daughter?
Bronwyn, you are a f***ing bitch.
To me, friendship is about sharing your life, being vulnerable, and it takes a brave person and a secure person to do that. So I was very appreciative that you actually were able to let your guard down and share, because those are the moments that we grow and bond. And I don't really want to be friends with people if I don't know them, if I don't know what's going on in their life. And no one's marriage is perfect.
No.
Every marriage has its ups and downs. Every marriage goes through it. And so sometimes in this group, I feel like I'm literally isolated, alone, because I'm the only one willing to talk about my marriage. I'm just at home with the kids trying to figure all this out. And to see your wedding ring in the drawer every day, that hurts me. So it's refreshing when I get to talk to you about it, or Angie. And on the same hand, it's always hard for me to hear you say, when you feel like people don't take the time to get to know you? Because I feel like I did.
mean, in that moment, that's how I felt.
Okay.
I've had a lot of time to think, and I've had a lot of time to text you, and I do see where there was lots of times you reached out to me, and I was maybe not as receptive, or I was still very much, at least it didn't have me under a spell, but I was very much concerned about staying friends with Leisa, and there were some qualifications to my friendship with Leisa.
Yeah, and in this dynamic, do you understand the risk I took with my relationship with Heather to support you and be friends with you?
I see that it's very meaningful to me.
Yeah, because I do believe my friendship with you is in a silo separate from my relationship with Heather, right? So I think that given everything that you've seen of this group, I thought it was very brave of you to get vulnerable, but sometimes to get vulnerability back, you have to be the first one to do it. It's also very hurtful when people are accusing you of something and you're like, no, I work hard at this. This is something that my marriage is sacred. I work at it.
Yes.
If you were just here for the money.
As Heather says, we don't have a prenup, I would have left.
Exactly.
I mean, that's how that really would have worked if that was the case. For Leisa to question what I'm sharing when I'm being my most vulnerable, when I'm trying to be as honest as possible, that was truly devastating for me.
You think that maybe he can't be that invested because you're guarded against him? That's a great question.
No.
That's very vulnerable to share.
How hard it is for me to navigate being with somebody who is older and successful and the infidelity that we have had in our situation.
You can't expect people to be the way you want them to be after you share it.
Leisa took up for Todd because she's friends with Todd.
Did he deny it, though? Did he say there's nothing going on?
He came back with a ring that had 5 diamonds, and he made me 5 new promises to match each of the diamonds on the ring.
Oh, that's nice.
And I'm sure as a friend to both of them, she was trying to see both sides.
But Leisa also knows the damage that can do.
For me, I absorbed it, and I was also cognizant of Todd in this moment, too. Like, he has a new fund coming out. He has business associates. He's on the board of things.
And we know how that goes.
So for me, I'm like, you know, they always say, like, you watch how a man treats his wife and you know how he'll be in business. Like, this could impact him in another way. And it's not something she's sharing with Todd. It's something she's sharing with, like, the world.
I just felt like total compassion and sympathy for her. But then to see her kind of posting about how Todd's the love of her life the next day and then being critical of you and Leisa in the way that you responded to her confession.
It felt like Meredith said, well, maybe that's all Todd can do.
The pendulum swung back again. Like, I just feel suspicious of her.
I think there might be some telephone game that went on there that made it harder for me unnecessarily.
Maybe she didn't take it as serious as it is. I don't know.
So you don't think she believed what I was saying?
Leisa acted like she almost didn't really believe it.
Interesting. Do you know what I mean? Do you feel this? I felt sorry for her. Oh.
And for me, I took it as Leisa doesn't trust Bronwyn.
I basically said that's a lot for Todd, too.
When Todd sees this, he's gonna lose his mind.
You know, but that's it. And I was like, we were being kind of quiet.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why would Angie tell Bronwyn that?
Again, what, Leisa? Like, I'm trying to be friends with the women that you've encouraged me to be friends with, that you wanted me to be friends with. And then when I make efforts to do that, she puts a damper on it. I can't believe she shared that. That's not what I would have done.
I didn't say anything I feel bad about. Like, I felt empathy for Bronwyn, but I'm like, you're sharing this to be relatable with the wrong people.
Exactly.
It puts a negative connotation on the way I'm acting, which makes you guys who don't know me as well as her uneasy. It's a problem.
If it would have gone differently, let's say you came in and you didn't make any friendships at all. Let's say that you just came in and you had Lisa's back in every aspect of the word, every fight, every gang up, everything that Leisa has done. If you just supported her and patted her back, this would be a very different situation for you, I believe.
Let's go to the Bezos party. I watched myself in that Bezos party and died. Everything Leisa says, I am sitting there nodding my head like this. I just agree with everything. I'm rubbing her back at one point. And then literally that same week, I tell her and Heather something that I didn't love about you that night. And the two of them turned on me. And I was still having Lisa's back at that moment. So I don't know that there was a world for me in which I could have supported Leisa enough to gain that support back. I don't think that there was that path for us. I think I was always going to be a casualty in her and Heather staying tight for whatever reason they've decided to stay tight.
That's fair.